Hi, I'm a mud fossil researcher, and as a result of the mud fossils that I've been researching, I ended up finding out literally that there are veins and arteries in meteorites. Comet 67P is actually a creature component. It was alive at one time. There's absolutely no question about it whatsoever, 100% for certain. And I have DNA tested body parts from giants long ago in the past. And there's absolutely no question. I have 3 DNA tests, I have 7 CAT scans, I have chemistry, all of that stuff is done. Now, I plan to propose that Emanuel Velikovsky was, I believe he was almost completely correct at his observations of how the solar system works and how Venus was born. And all of these ancient texts were written and say these things. They didn't just write them here or there. They wrote them all over the world. And he did the research that was never done for this stuff. He's a true researcher, and I don't see that anymore. I see snap decisions and overlook this and forget about that. And Plato talks about Atlantis being thousands and thousands, 9,000, 12,000, I believe 9,400 years ago, Plato put them at. And they're talking about Atlantis being 3,500 years old. They're not paying attention to the stories that were written. They're treating them like they're silly. And Velikovsky said, no, these aren't silly stories. This is history. Now, can't you read it and can't you figure this out? And he did. And he went around the world and he said, what did you guys say about it? And they said, well, we said the same things those guys said. And before long, he realized that this was not just silly stuff. Venus apparently was born about 3,500 years ago. And it created havoc in our solar system, absolute havoc. And he has every detail of this. It's extremely powerful what he presents. And there is no just laughing it off, oh, he's a silly guy. No, all these things he said virtually have come true. And they have been proven by the people that said, oh, that's impossible, that's impossible. Oh, well, maybe that's right, but the rest of it's impossible. Well, that can be. Before long, everything he says is proven to be true. I think it's like 32 points that he said all came true, all things he were laughed at for. So I'm going to present evidence that supports him because I believe he's right. And I have the evidence that the universe is alive, and nobody can dispute that because my evidence is physical. And my evidence can be tested, and my evidence is chemical. Nobody else has this. Every other theory is complete guesses. And I'll tell you what, they didn't guess right because they didn't start with the fact that the universe is alive. Blood and guts in space, and that is an absolute fact. And I have them. And everybody had. They're all over the world. They're in meteorites. And there was one showed up the other day on the internet. It's supposed to be 4,000. I mean, just before our universe, our solar system was even born. And that had the exact clear vein and artery. And I'll try to find that and show that in my presentation. But believe me, listen to what this guy says with an open mind. Don't just start laughing, oh boy, this was just silly stuff. They were talking about planets being alive. No, this is true. The things that are floating around in space, as far as I can determine, every one of them was breathing oxygen at one time, if the oxygen was what that particular creature used to stay alive, and I imagine it was. So it's all I can point out to you, and I can prove to you. And if you will want to check my evidence, I have it. Totally available, and I'm requesting scrutiny. All right? And I have something to scrutinize. So, scrutinizers are welcome.